So you just bought another motorcycle, and you want to know right away what are some of the things to buy for your new or used bike. Well, these are the first 5 things I recommend everybody buy for their bike when they first get it. Just as a note, things like registration, title, insurance, etc. are not included in this list. Number 1, the first thing you always want to make sure you have is a repair manual. Go on eBay and buy one that's used. You don't really need a new one. They're anywhere from $20 to $50 depending on how new your bike is. Trust me when I say this that these manuals will pay for themselves in many different ways throughout the ownership of the bike. They have all the information you could need to work on your bike, and I would say that it is essential. Number 2, do a check of your whole bike. You should have done this before buying the bike, but let's be honest, we don't always get everything on the first time we look at it. Chances are, you missed something. Make sure it's not missing any parts. The first thing I always do when I buy my bike is, if it doesn't already have it, is some swing arm spools. Swing arm spools are there for raising the rear wheel off the ground, obviously not needed if you have a center stand. Once you have the spools, make sure you give the chain a good cleaning and waxing. I'll leave links in the description for my favorite chain cleaner and wax, and I've used just about every brand, but these two are the best. The Motool chain cleaner and the Maxima chain wax. And of course the grunge brush makes quick work of that chain. Links to buy everything will of course be in the description. Number 3. The third thing I like to do is change the oil. The oil is the lifeblood of the engine, and I would consider it the most important thing to look after. I never trust what the previous owner says. Of course, could always check the oil from the dipstick or the sight glass and see if it's overfilled, underfilled, or the color of the oil. Still though, I have no idea what brand they used or even if they replaced the filter, etc. You can't trust everything unless there's receipts to go with it. So go by this phrase: when in doubt, drain it out. Also, check the air filter on the bike. This step can be a pain in some models like my CBR600RR, which requires removal of half the fairings to get to the air filter, but on bikes like my VFR 800 it's super easy to do, and it's worth the peace of mind of having the filter cleaned. Remember when I popped open my air filter on my VFR 800 and I found a mouse nest in there? Yeah, that's something you really want to look into before going too far with the motorcycle. Number 4 is going to be a little R&R, replace and repair. Always start with a clean bike before you shake out your bank account on mods. Go over the bike and see what's damaged, and if it's cheap and easy to replace it, then replace it. One of the most common things that are damaged is the bar ends. Check them. If they're scuffed, spend $10 and get some new ones to replace it. How about missing bolts? Go buy some replacements. OEM bolts can be expensive. I'm talking like $4 a bolt sometimes. But if you only need 1 or 2 to make the bike perfect, then it might be worth it. Also, you can find bags of used OEM bolts on eBay all the time for good prices. Go over the whole bike and replace everything that's cheap and easy to do. Obviously, if you find a scratch on the stator or a dent in the gas tank, then that might be too expensive to replace at this time. Number 5. Finally buy the bike a good bike wash and wax. I like to wash my bike without a hose. I have washed bikes in the past with the hose before, but I don't really do that anymore. I tend to stick with a spray bottle and some mild car soap. Simply wet down the whole bike with some water, then spray it down with some soap. Finally wash away with more water. After that, bust out the polisher and go over the whole fairings with the polisher and microfiber cloth. My personal favorite polisher is the Honda polish. I saw my fellow motovlogger 650E use it on one of his videos, and I decided to try it out for myself, and I love the stuff. After you polish the whole bike and it's looking nice, go over the whole thing with a paste wax. Meguiar's is a good cheap wax solution that I use, but any will do. That will protect the fairings from light scratches and rock chips. If you want, you can go over it again with a spray wax after, but usually that step can be kind of redundant. After you do those 5 things, you'll have a clean bike that is up to date on the general maintenance, and now you are armed with a golden service manual which can be used for any and all of your needs. So what's next? Well, now I recommend going out and riding the bike for a while before doing any real mods. Generally speaking, try to go at least a month before spending too much money on the bike, or any at all. You may find out that the seat you're sitting on is actually kind of comfortable, or you may find out that the handlebars and the foot pegs are actually where you want them to be, or maybe you're starting to enjoy the benefits of having a stock quiet exhaust, or maybe you find that after a month you made a bad decision and just want to sell the bike. Generally speaking, I try to wait a month before modding. Do I ever achieve this? No, I never do, but I think you should do what I say and not as I do. Well, that's the end of this list. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want more awesome motorcycle related content. Thank you, take care, and bye-bye.
Sick news for your little arrows out. Let me live my life, the one I'd better lead. All the plans of fantasies, and we looked at them 11 ways. You said, look at me.